Hey YouTube, in this deck profile, I'm going to be doing a deck profile on my updated Gear Chronicle deck. So, those of you who know, my Gear Chronicle deck, I had two of them. Neither one of them have next stage because I don't have next stage. I didn't bother getting it when it was new, and it's pretty impossible for me to get it right now. So I just play without next stage, and honestly, the new Warp Drive Dragon, he's okay. But next stage is kind of like, it's really good. Next stage is really good at allowing Gear Chronicle to be competitive against decks like Chaos, and stuff that basically forces them to only have their Vanguard do stuff. But otherwise, in most matchups, without next stage, it does really good. Gear Chronicle is a really fun clan to play. It's just really good overall, so I don't really consider it that necessary. But obviously, if you want to play at the top high level, the next stage, at least 2 copies to stride at once is kind of a necessity, I guess, for this clan. Especially for the Chronojet build. But Chrono Fang Tiger thing is coming out soon, so that should give people another option to play, but people probably just mix the two of them together. But anyway, starters, for Chronojet Dragon, doesn't really matter which artwork you use. I'm just showcasing the newer one because I pulled the, I guess, the signature or the sign card or whatever. But yeah, for Chronojet Dragon, he's probably still the best build right now for Gear Chronicle compared to like Legion and any other sort of Gear Chronicle build that's out there. And then for Steam Fighter Baloth, so I actually had 2 Gear Chronicle decks, both Chronojet focused. One was Time Leap focused, one was like the old school disrupt the opponent's field focused. I sort of just gave up on that and just combined them both together so I could have the best of both worlds in one deck. So I chose Baloth over the bird, the one with Time Leap, because Baloth, it's very important to get Chronojet so you can basically make all your plays go off. So Baloth is still the best alternate one. So deck's no longer really Time Leap focused, but yeah, Baloth is just really good. For grade 2s, for History Maker Dragon, pretty essential to make the Time Leap plays. So definitely one of the best grade 2s they have right now. Very consistent Time Leap card. Then 3 Upstream Dragon. I only ever had 3 Upstream Dragon. I never bothered to get a 4th one. The grade 2 space is really tight, so I feel like 3 is the best number. I don't have to rely on him that much, but he's still a pretty solid card. Then 2 Amber, just for pressure disruption, annoying disruption to the opponent's field. 2 copies because your On-Stride does the same ability, or has the same effect. Actually, the On-Stride is better because it can pick anything. This can only send back grade 2 or less. And then 2 Steam Knight Lugal. This has the ability, this is basically Silent Tom when it's placed on R. If you have GB1, he becomes 11k and he gets the Silent Tom effect. So pretty good. You could run 3 if you only want to run 3 History Makers. You could do 3, and then 2 Amber. But 2 of it, because you cannot use it as a Silent Tom in early game until GB1 is live. So, and with all the crazy like time leaping, you can time leap grade 1s into this, then use this multiple times. So you only really need like 2, so you can use it in one column, I guess. Next for grade 1s, for Arlim, really essential because this deck is very counterblast. Tends to be counterblast heavy. Being Gear Chronicle with the History Maker, with Amber, with On-Stride skill, with Baloth, Fix Your Heart skill, stuff like that. And then for Steam Breath Dragon, because it's Chronojet focused, you want Chronojet to be the Vanguard as much as possible, so 4 copies of this is kind of a must-do. So yeah. Then 3 Steam Maiden Mellum. Mellum's really nice grade 1. She's a good example of power creep because she's a grade 1 that can attack for 11k. I think that's kind of ridiculous. But yeah, that's power creep at its best. And then she does what Upstream does. She's basically the grade 1 version of Upstream. So Upstream, when at the end of the battle that he attacked, he goes back and he calls a grade 1 at rest. She goes back and she calls a grade 0 at rest. And then 2 Steam made in Danish. Danish is really good because she can, if you time leap into her, she can do her skill to basically pick one of the opponents, or the opponent chooses. No, you choose one of your opponent's units. The opponent has to send that back to the deck, and then call a unit that's grade 1 less than that. So if you send their starter, if you send a 0, they don't get to say anything because they can't call a -1 grade. So potential to completely +1 on your opponent, but it's rare for that to happen. But yeah, usually just send their starter away. But yeah, Danish is pretty good. At 2 copies, you use it multiple times with the time leap. And then 1 Gigi. I just run the 1 Gigi. Some people, they run like 2 Gigi. I've honestly never really had issues, even in the events where I had to ride this as grade 1 and never use it. That just made me time leap other things instead, so not a big deal. For the trigger lineup, I am running a weird lineup, so I'm running my 2 Lucky Pot Draco Kid draw triggers, and then 2 Steam Battler Urwater or Watar. Originally, I was trying all 4. I used to run like 4 draw and 8 critical. Now I'm running. Then I switched to 4 stand 8 critical. I really didn't like Urwater at 4 in here, because if upstream had to swing and then time leap or something, like he would go away, so I couldn't strike or I couldn't stand him, and I never really had any good alternative rear guards that were worth attacking first, and then trying to rely on checking a stand to stand them up. The deck just didn't really seem to work that well, so I dropped him down to 2, just so that Melum can bring him out when she goes away from the field, or you know, that sort of play. So mainly this is just in here for Melum plays, because that's really the only reason. Otherwise I'd go back to running the 4 draw. But then it's 8 critical, so 4 Steam Skara Kalanma, and 4 Steam Battler Meshad. This one's like the best one because he's got that up smash. He's just like telling them to pay attention, just like critical hit. I don't have Heart Thump Worker, unfortunately, so again, like I don't have Heart Thump Worker, I don't have Next Stage, so I try to make do with what I have, and so far the deck is still extremely fun, and I still consider it relatively competitive. It's just lacking the more popular cards like Next Stage and Thump Worker. And then 4 Steam Maiden Uluru, just the heal trigger, and then Chronodran as a starter. I'm not trying the time worker thing. I forgot what it's called. Time leap worker. I don't know. I still don't want to deviate too much from Chronodran as a starter because I don't have Next Stage or stuff, so I kind of have to play very standard with Metallica Phoenix as first stride and stuff like that and get Gigi. So moving on to stride deck, of course, the 1 Metallica Phoenix, my favorite Gear Chronicle stride unit in the game. It's cooler than Next Stage. It just looks really cool every time in the show. Like when it comes out, it's so big, it's so scary when it goes all like crazy flame and stuff. So it's still really nice first stride, probably one of the best first strides. And then the 1 Chronos Command Dragon. Chronos Command Dragon is only in here for one reason, and that is for this guy. So Chronos Command Revolution. He is in here, so in the event you're up against someone who blew up your field, you want to retaliate. So you like first stride Metallica Phoenix, flip this guy up with Metallica Phoenix, and then later proceed to stride this guy and like mess up your opponent's entire field when you have like 2 or less rear guards. So pretty nice standard plays. This stuff is really good with if you're running the I can't remember that thing. It's like Gear Eagle. Yeah, Gear Eagle instead of Baloth. Because actually, if you stride a Chronos Command on top of that Gear Eagle, he gets an additional effect. So yeah. And then 2 Riding Clock Dragon. Just a 1 of time stride. Just force out Perfect Guard. Literally just says throw down a Perfect Guard to guard. Otherwise, they take lots of damage. And then next I've got my 1-ofs. So 1 Epoch Maker. He's probably going to get taken out of the deck. But yeah, he's probably going to get taken out of the deck. And then 1 Upheaval Pegasus. He's pretty good against like Royal Paladins, like Op Mile, and stuff that just kind of you want to mess up their field. 1 Fiery March Colossus, really good, like having another type of Ragnar Clock, only it's the opposite of Ragnar Clock. This one basically says you can't perfect guard me, but again, it's dependent on the opponent having a grade 1 on the field, and then you also have to -1 of your own rear guards from your field. So, but still, really good card. And then 1 Fate Rider Dragon, just really good in late game, swing with a huge number. It's just even better. It's basically like Blizza for Gear Chronicle. That's the way I think about it. And then 3 Interdimensional Dragon, Warp Drive Dragon. He's okay. Kind of a hefty cost of Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1. So, I don't know. I've tested him like 2 or 3 times, and he's a little underwhelming in my opinion, but he's not too bad. Basically, I would say like this. The way you play this guy is you use this guy against decks that are very like rearguard aggro heavy, like Royal Paladin. Like basically, if you're up against a Paladin deck, or like Neo Nectar, or some spammy deck that spams the field a lot, Warp Drive Dragon's pretty good against them. Another good one is this guy, but I feel like this guy is better against defensive decks like Kagero, Link Joker, stuff like that. Decks that don't let you have a field, this guy's better. Decks that let you have a field and they themselves makes a big field, this guy's better. So it depends on what the matchup is, because usually Metallica Phoenix, and this is why Metallica Phoenix is my favorite one. He enables you to get these guys to do their thing later on in the game. So if you're up against a defensive deck, or if I'm up against a defensive deck, usually I'll flip up Chronos Command with him, and then proceed to go into this at some point in the game. Otherwise, if I'm up against an aggro-heavy deck, with Metallica Phoenix, I will flip up a Warp Drive instead, so I can go into Warp Drive and flip him up and do that thing later. So, next for the G-Guardians, I'm just running 3 Uluru. You can run a Desmil if you want. Honestly, I don't really know if it's all that necessary, because I rely a lot on like upstream plays and stuff. But yeah, sometimes Desmil can be useful. So if I was to say right now, I would probably take out Epoch Maker, because he's the on hit. I take him out for Desmil and make it like that. So anyway, guys, let me know in the comments what's your opinion on Warp Drive Dragon and Gear Chronicle decks that don't run next stage. Like, how effective do you think they are? I honestly feel that Gear Chronicle has a diverse enough Stride lineup. So they've got a nice Blizza. They have lots of like guard restriction stuff like these guys. They have lots of like disruption effects and things like that. So and they have a really good G Guardian. So let me know in the comments below what you guys think of the clan overall, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks.